Hey guys, welcome back to a new video. I'm Stephanie Fisher. I'm a licensed counselor here in the state of Michigan, and I am owner and operator of In Progress Counseling. We started the week with talking about that metabolization, this process of whatever's happened being converted into energy and maybe it gets put out into the world around us. Some of what we're doing is we're discarding waste, and some of what we're doing is we're storing the story in some type of way, maybe to be used later, or maybe it just becomes a part of us. And we used fat storage. Again, it's not glamorous to say that, yet mechanistically it does happen that our body has all of these ways of moving whatever we're digesting around. So burning it off or storing it or eliminating it with waste, right? And so when I'm talking to someone, through this process of metabolizing, the story has happened. You've not resisted it, you've chewed it, you've swallowed it, you've let it start to work its way through your system. Sometimes people want to do something with this experiential learning that they've had to go through, or maybe it is something you've chosen and you didn't realize how difficult it would actually be, and maybe you want to do something with that understanding. And so I get to talk to so many people who have built their lives on trying to counterbalance some of the pain that they've gone through. So perhaps it's someone who has been misattuned to in their upbringing. Perhaps their parents were busy. Perhaps they came from a household where there wasn't a lot of emotional capacity. There's a lot of reasons why someone might come through a system where they're not being attuned to. And so I get to walk alongside of these stunning mothers and fathers who are so tuned into their kiddo, who, understand the emotional needs and complexities of a child. And it's like, well, why are you so good at that? Well, because maybe once upon a time you were overlooked, or you were kind of, your needs might have been minimized, or maybe it wasn't the best for the family to focus on you, even when there was a real need for that type of attention and attunement. It's not a great way to become highly attuned, but if you're highly attuned, maybe there's a gift there to give the world around you, to tune into other people's hurt and pain and become helpers in their stories. Now, again, it's built on something painful, but perhaps that pain can be, metabolized, and then it can become, I don't have a better word here, but metamorphosized into something that is altruistic and kind and helps the world around us. I'm not saying it's our responsibility per se, but at some point, it's likely one of the better adaptations for pain and hardship and struggle. And I don't start there with clients, right? This is much later in the story when we're towards meaning making of what can I do to balance the world in some way because this hard thing has happened. So I'll walk alongside of someone who's had an infant loss, and they intuitively know, I'm going to reach out to women when I hear that this is in their story too, and I'm going to be a guide or a support or someone generous in their story. I'm going to hold their pain with them and see them in their pain. When I personally understand that someone's going through the divorce process, I experientially can understand in my physiology how excruciating that actually is. The loneliness, the disentanglement, the isolation, how mutually unkind people can be to each other in the divorce process. I have never gone through that process with kids involved, but I walked with enough people to know that, when it gets acrimonious, I kind of brace with my clients and I flinch with my clients because I understand already at the personal level how excruciating it is. And then to add kids into the mix that you may be advocating for, or trying to buffer some of the intensity of this experience, it's so much effort, so much work, and it takes a toll. And so I understand that at the single level, and I get to walk with a lot of people who are contemplating, hey, is this the next chapter for me? Or they've been thrust into that chapter. I just know how to sit with them because experientially I understand what that actually is like. The one tangible that I'll also give to my clients also, that's repetitive, apologies for that. The idea of someone not seeing their value. I understand what it's like to sit by the bedside of someone who has been habitually unkind to themselves. And I know where that takes people. I know what it's like to have an inner dialogue that says you're worthless, you don't add value, whatever your story is, you should be cloaked in shame and guilt. I understand experientially and intimately what it's like to walk alongside someone that has that narrative. And I see where that takes people. And so because I understand that hurt, that pain, the vulnerabilities, I know how to enter that space with a lot of conviction and with a commitment towards helping someone write a different narrative. I'm really good at that work, but some of that is built on horrific loss. Some of that's built on watching someone slip away who doesn't understand their value. I don't know what the pain is, but I know that it equips us typically and often to walk with someone else who has a mirror pain. And that's a little bit of what this part of the conversation is. I'm not saying you have to go out and build some type of nonprofit and go reach everyone who has a similar experience, but I know some people do that. I know some people are really effective at that because they don't want whatever this experientially hard thing is, they don't want it to stop with them. They want to somehow counterbalance it in the world around them. And it's not an automatic responsibility, but I think often it's an opportunity. And clients who get to that point, and I know in my own story, when I get to that point, I know that the suffering isn't needless or useless or worthless. Now, would I pick the suffering? No. Would I want to use it to buffer someone else's suffering or to love them well as they suffer? I think I would choose that. And sometimes when we're in the meaning-making stages, that's the choice in front of us. How do I counterbalance in this world this thing that's happened to me? I can't undo it. I can't take it away. I've had to chew on it and swallow it and digest it. What if I did something important with it too? It's a possibility.